Welcome to Thursday. It's the 24th day of February 2022. Welcome to the Day Weather Podcast, brought to you by Chugwater Chili, the gourmet spice of Western life. Get 20% off your next purchase by using purchase code ChugwaterDon at checkout. And while you're there, check out all of the different things that Chugwater Chili has, especially their chili seasoning, their green chili seasoning. It's a quick and easy way to make green chili. Make it up fast, hot, and tasty. Don't forget to use ChugwaterDon at checkout. Well, the Arctic cold is going to ease. Now, it's not going to happen all at once. This part of the world is famous for its Chinook winds, and we're going to certainly see those next week, but this is going to be a slow process. Temperatures today are still going to be severely cold, although, today the temperatures this morning aren't as cold as they were yesterday morning, but that's not saying much. So stock growers and other outdoor interests, you're going to need to be prepared for another day of severe cold and wind chills. Also, there's a little disturbance coming out of Washington and Oregon and Idaho that is going to produce some snow showers and flurries today and tonight, especially over the higher terrain. Maybe a few snow showers or flurries on the plains. We're talking about a dusting of snow. Now, there's a very modest improvement in temperatures tomorrow and into Saturday. The weekend, you'll notice the temperatures getting the warmest Sunday. Saturday is going to be warmer, but still chilly. And we're going to have some cold air trapped in the western basins and valleys west of the divide. So if you're not in a Chinook zone east of the mountains, you're still going to be pretty chilly through the weekend. There is a nice warm-up coming next week as the Arctic air retreats, the jet stream straightens out, but it looks active late next week and next weekend with the weather pattern getting busy again. Could March be a cold month? Well, it's something we're looking at and kind of gaining confidence that March is not going to necessarily springboard us into a spring pattern the way things are looking, and we'll take a look at why that might be. Satellite imagery this morning shows this next little wave up here headed southeast. The blue patches that you see here are areas of low clouds and fog, and also representing some of that very cold air. This little wave is headed southeast and will come in later today and tonight. But you can see California, parts of the Great Basin beginning to clear on out. But you can see the patches of blue here showing that cold air has spilled over on the other side of the Continental Divide. As we take a look at the pattern, here's that upper level low right here. Here's the low that was overhead yesterday. And all the Arctic air remains in this area right here. But things are going to start to move. But it's going to take a while. So you can see here, look at these temperatures. Look at these temperatures relative to average by this afternoon. So you can see the extent of the purple and the blue and the green, still very impressive. Snowfall from this little system coming up out of the Pacific Northwest, this is what it looks like. So we're going to get an inch or two of snow in the mountains, a dusting, some flurries on the plains. That'll be all, but it's just basically reinforcing the Arctic chill here for another day. As we step through the temperature anomalies, this is for tomorrow. So there's not as much purple, but there's a lot of green. Look at all the purple here in Utah and back into the basins and valleys of the Great Basin states. So it's still going to be cold relative to averages for tomorrow. Saturday, we start to see that Chinook come out of the Canadian Rockies. Montana, the Dakotas, parts of Nebraska here get a little bit of a warm-up. Look at the cold west of the divide. So you got to be patient in those areas there. It's going to be another cold day deep in the heart of Texas as we get into the start of the weekend. Now, by Sunday, we still have the western valleys trapped with the cold air, but the Chinooks begin to become more prominent along and east of the divide. So if you're east of the divide, you start to get a warm-up. West of the divide, you're going to hold that cold air. As we go into Sunday, we do have a little wave coming into the Pacific Northwest. This will bring rain to parts of far northern California, Washington, Oregon, and mountain snow, but it's going to kind of head this way and minor out, basically weaken as it heads east. This, though, will push warmer, milder air in. This is why the temperatures on Sunday start to warm up. And by Monday afternoon, the Tuesday, look how straight the jet stream goes, going into that phase 1 La Nina with the jet stream straightening out. So what this will do is this will push a big plume of warmer, well, let's not call it warmer, but more mild air off the Pacific into the Great Basin and Rockies. That, combined with the Chinooking effect of the westerly flow coming downhill off the Rockies, will make it warmer along and east of the major mountain ranges. And there you go. These are the temperature anomalies by noon on Tuesday. So you can see a nice warm up, and you can really see the Chinook, can't you? You just get along and east of the divide there, see how much those temperatures really warm up, even into the northwest areas of the Corn Belt. So the nation gets a break right here, basically from Sunday through Wednesday, probably into Thursday of next week. Straggling cold still holding back there in the basins and valleys of Utah and western Colorado. As we get to the end of the week, here we go with the pattern getting busy again. Now this is by Thursday afternoon into Friday morning. We got a decent little low going across southern Canada, dragging a pretty moist and energetic cold front into the Rockies, followed by another wave here, another wave up here off the Aleutians, and what we're going to see is another trough forming in the western United States with high pressure in the east. Basically a similar configuration to what we have right now. So what will happen is the door will open up to Canada again, colder air comes back in, and by next weekend, mountain snow will return, some snow on the plains, and temperatures are going to fall again. But precipitation is going to be good, and this is what we have been talking about late last week and early this week, is that the patterns are changing, which is going to start to get the snow going in the mountains again, and that's good news. We need to reverse the trends in the snowpack and start to see those snowpack numbers climb again. And I think we'll really start to see this late next week. You can see the mountain areas here are starting to get back into the snows again. And we're going to see the precipitation increase in the far west, but it's also going to get colder. Look at these temperatures. These are temperatures by next Saturday. So we see the temperature anomalies go colder than average again by next weekend. So yes, we've got a nice warm up coming next week, but it'll be a false sense of spring. So don't get used to it. Here's the snowfall forecast by late next week into next weekend. And you can see the mountain snows returning. And again, across a lot of the United States, it's going to be, in the northern areas of the U.S., very wintry into that first week of March. Going out to March 7th, Monday, March 7th, we have another low settling into the Great Basin and Rockies, another low up here that could come in behind it, and a well-established high in the Pacific with the high here. So basically what will happen is we're going to revert back in a basic sense to where we are now after next week's warm-up. Now, one reason that we're looking at this going on, what I'm showing you are the sea surface temperature anomalies across the North Pacific as of earlier this week. What I want to show you is these colder than normal, colder than the 30-year average sea surface temperatures just off the coast of Alaska and British Columbia, and it's butting right up against some warmer. Now, these sea surface temperatures are not warm by anybody's standards, but they're a little bit warmer than the 30-year average. And this causes a gradient. And this is something we had a little bit in the fall, where you get a big temperature gradient over the water. And this becomes a little bit of a breeding ground in these colder waters and along this gradient here for storm systems to come up over the ridge and into the Pacific Northwest, Western Canada, and parts of the northern and central Rockies. Now, this is something that we have seen in years past when it ends up being a busy spring, in terms of especially the mountains getting back into the snow. If this pattern holds, this does bode for a colder March and maybe a colder April if these sea surface temperature patterns hold. And one thing that supports that is this is the latest European model that goes out 30 days. And what it wants to do is it wants to keep the high about where it is right now, and another high here. These blue colors, I'm showing you the forecasted 500 millibar chart, basically represent a trough. So if we were to draw the jet stream, this is what the jet stream average looks like for the week of March 7th through the 21st of March. So basically what it's wanting to show is a persistent area of low pressure in the west as we get into next weekend and probably for a solid 2 weeks. Now, if that happens, if you just follow these black lines, this means the basic average trajectory of the air is going to be coming out of Western Canada into the Western United States. This is a cold signal. And these are what the temperatures are like for the week of March 7th through the 21st. And so what you're looking at is rather March 7th through the 14th. And so that second week of March could very well revert to colder than average conditions. And this is what the snowfall looks like. So what you're looking at is precipitation. This map here is the precipitation. You can see the orange, the yellows, the blues starting to really increase in the west and over the mountains again. So enjoy the warm-up that's coming late this weekend and next week. because we are probably going to go back to a colder, unsettled, stormy pattern again by next weekend and the week after that. Have yourself a good Thursday. We'll see you on Friday.